If you're watching this right now, stop whatever you're doing and listen carefully. What you are about to hear is not fiction. These are real events, documented by a real person, about something hidden in plain sight for years. There is a McDonald's on Elm Street in Manchester that does not appear on Google Maps anymore. If you search for it, you will find an empty lot. The reviews are gone. The photos are gone. Even the people who work there seem to have quietly disappeared from public life. Nobody talks about it. Nobody dares. But I was there, and I remember everything. My name is Daniel Reeves. I was 23 when I took a night shift manager position at that McDonald's in autumn 2018. I was finishing my postgraduate degree in criminology at the University of Manchester, and the rent was swallowing me whole. The night shifts meant I could study during the day. It seemed perfect. Looking back now, nothing about that place was normal. The first thing I noticed was the children's area. The colors were slightly off. Not quite the red and yellow you expect, but something darker. The Ronald McDonald statue in the corner was older than any I had ever seen. His paint was chipped. His smile was too wide. His glass eyes seemed to follow you across the room no matter where you stood. I told myself I was being paranoid. The manager who trained me was Patricia Holt, mid-50s, thin in a way that looked uncomfortable. Gray hair pulled back so tightly it stretched the skin around her temples. She smiled constantly, but the smile never reached her eyes. On my first night, she walked me through the building and stopped in front of a metal door at the far end of the corridor. Keypad lock, no label, no sign. She said without turning to look at me, "That room is for authorized personnel only. You will never need to go in there. Do you understand?" I said yes, but I thought about that door every single night. The disappearances in Manchester had been going on for 3 years. 7 children, ages 4 to 11, vanished without explanation. No witnesses, no coherent CCTV footage. The police were baffled. The media moved on. The families were left in an unbearable silence. What I did not know was that every one of those children had last been seen near a McDonald's. I discovered this in the university library, reading archived articles. Sophie Alderton had been at a McDonald's birthday party the afternoon she vanished. Marcus Webb was spotted on CCTV entering a McDonald's the day he disappeared. The footage showed him walking in. None showed him walking out. I thought about the metal door. Every Tuesday at precisely 2 in the morning, a white transit van with no markings and no license plate would arrive. 2 men in dark clothing unloaded large boxes. Patricia always supervised. Nobody else was allowed near. That night, after Patricia went to her office, I walked to the rear entrance. Near the drainage grate, I found something that made my stomach turn completely over. A child's shoe. A small pink trainer, size 4, Velcro strap, a tiny cartoon star on the side. Sophie Alderton had been wearing pink trainers the day she disappeared. Pink, Velcro strap, cartoon star. I was sick for 2 days. On the 3rd day I went back. I had decided to find out what was behind that door. It took 4 more weeks to get the code. I watched Patricia enter it twice from different angles. On a quiet Wednesday at 4:15 in the morning, I stood before that metal door, hands shaking. The corridor smelled of bleach, the kind used deliberately to cover other smells. I entered the code. The door clicked open. Beyond it was a staircase leading down, concrete walls, a flickering fluorescent light. The air was cold and carried a smell I cannot describe. Damp, old, wrong. Every part of me said run. I went down anyway. The basement was large, divided by heavy plastic sheeting. Filing cabinets lined one wall. A long metal table in the center had drainage channels cut into its surface. Medical equipment,
an IV stand, sealed surgical instruments, things I could not identify. And there were photographs, hundreds of them on a corkboard. Children, different ages, different faces, clinical settings. Some labeled with dates and numbers, some crossed out in red marker. Among them I found Sophie Alderton, Marcus Webb, all 7 Manchester children, and dozens more, from Birmingham, Leeds, London, Glasgow, and I started photographing everything. I did not hear Patricia come down behind me. I wondered when you would find your way down here. Perfectly calm, smile perfectly in place. You studied criminology. I knew you would be a problem. I asked her what the place was. She paused for a moment, as if the question was almost beneath her. A project, running for a very long time. Children are psychologically remarkable, Daniel. The way fear develops in a young mind, the neurological patterns, the breaking points. The research applications are significant. I told her those were missing children. People are always looking, she said. They rarely find. She held out her hand. Your phone, please. I ran, out through the restaurant and into the cold Manchester night, phone in hand. Images that could destroy everything. I went to the police, showed them the photographs, gave them the address, told them everything. They raided the restaurant the next morning, found the kitchen, the stock room, Patricia's office. Perfectly ordinary. No metal door, no staircase, no basement. Patricia Holt did not exist in any employment database. The franchise had been closed for renovation for 6 months according to corporate records. The photographs were declared authentic by forensics, but the building offered nothing. 2 weeks later, the McDonald's closed permanently, demolished within the month. The lot went empty. The Google Maps listing disappeared. I moved to London. I have spent years searching for evidence of what Patricia called the project. Enough to keep me awake most nights. Not enough to bring to anyone who could act on it. The 7 Manchester children were never found. Between 2015 and 2019, 114 children went missing within 2 miles of a McDonald's across the United Kingdom and were never recovered. Nobody has connected the dots, or perhaps somebody has, and decided they are better left unconnected. Last Tuesday, I drove past a McDonald's near my flat, a white transit van at the rear entrance. No markings, no plates. 2 men in dark clothing unloading boxes and supervising them. A thin woman with gray hair pulled tightly back. She turned and looked directly at me as I drove past. She was smiling. If you recognize Patricia Holt or have witnessed anything unusual at any McDonald's location, please report it. Those children had names, they had families, they deserved to be found. This account was submitted anonymously. Daniel Reeves is not his real name, and that is where his story ends.